250 or 300 that I really like, that are pure strength, strength plus hypertrophy, faster paced workouts, metabolic circuits, metabolic plus strength training. And I have different variations of all of these styles of training. And then we have like 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, because different people have different preferences. And then you go into like those, that lays the framework, right? So
Yes.
Who are you? What do you want to accomplish? Is your goal fat loss or muscle gain? How often do you want to train? And then you get into specifics. What movements do you enjoy? Do you have specific body parts you really want to work on that we should be putting more volume towards? Do you have injuries? Do you have imbalances? And like those are where the individual tweaks into the programming come.
Got
but the foundation of this training phase comes from what I have built in the past.
Got it. So when you actually, because I think a lot of trainers do say, oh, you know, we're going to customize a program for you. And I've been around a lot of trainers, and I just feel a lot of times that's not really the case. It's everybody's getting a cookie cutter workout, but just kind of getting, you know, like displayed as in they are getting something customized. And, you know, that super bothers me. I mean, do you pay attention to what other trainers are doing? Is it, or you just like, you just know what you're doing, so you just kind of do what you know best?
That's a good question. I pay attention to a small handful of other fitness professionals that I think are really smart, because there's a lot of people who have better like understanding of advanced programming than I do, and I want to continue to learn from them. But I'm definitely not like there's a thing. If you want to accomplish something, have your blinders on, be looking forward, don't be looking at the competition, don't be looking at what other people are doing. And so there's a degree of that. I'm not like watching other fitness people in the sense that I'm keeping an eye on my peers. But yeah, there are really smart men primarily who I read and watch videos of on training philosophy.
And who are they, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. So like Eric Helms from 3D Muscle Journey. Who else do I have an eye on? Like coming up, Martin Burkhan, Lean Gains was one for sure. There are a few other ones. The one other point I want to make is on like the cookie cutter subject. like from and this isn't hating at all, but it's obvious being on the other side of it. If there's and by the way, cookie cutter programs are fine if someone says like, this is just a general fat loss program and this is what I'm selling and this is what you're getting. Like, great, amazing. You can make insane results. I've made insane results on other people's like $30 or $20 or $50 ebook. It's when they lie and say it's just for you, blah, blah, blah. That's where it's like, okay, becomes unethical. But if someone has 1.5 million Instagram followers and they're selling a $60 program that's just for you, like they're not spending an hour designing that program just for you. It's just, you know, you kind of got to look at the math of things and be a little bit analytical about it.
Absolutely. Now there was a video where you talked about, I think it was like a video vlog where you were helping a friend push a couch, and I think the topic was, you know, action is momentum or motivation. Could you kind of expand on that a little bit? Because I thought that was so powerful, man.
Yeah. So motivation or momentum is motivation, I think might have been the title. The friend pushing the couch, I don't exactly remember how that tied into the concept, but something that I struggle with personally and that I see a lot of other people struggle with is getting going on things. On projects, on even simple day-to-day tasks that you know you have to do, but procrastinating. And part of it is because we want to feel motivated to do a thing, right? Like, I have to write a blog post. I would love to feel the motivation to write that blog post and then start doing it. Now, it's hard to think ourselves into a motivated state. And what I mean by that is to be laying in bed and like, I know I need to do something and thinking or like putting the right song on or watching a video that pumps you up to get the motivation to do it. Instead, starting, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting a little bit of feedback, so I just didn't know from the mic.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Starting creates motivation. So like action creates motivation. So what I like to say is if I'm not feeling it, if I have a big task to accomplish, if I have to go get my email inbox to 0 and I don't want to do it, I'll do something small to get going. I'll go do the dishes. I'll go do a load of laundry. I'll literally like clean. I'll brush my teeth. I'll do one small thing. So then I'm up and I'm moving, and then I do another thing, and then I do another thing, and that like builds that motivation. So that's kind of the momentum, doing things to build up to a task.
Man, I love that, man. And so if we can tie that in to, for somebody that's watching and they're like, they know they need to, make the move today, with that concept in mind, what would you tell somebody that is thinking, okay, cool, what small thing can I do today to start my fitness journey?
To start your fitness journey is a good one. There's so much misinformation.
I agree.
About what it takes to lose body fat, build a little bit of muscle, gain strength, feel better, like look better. I think the first thing that someone needs to do is have proper expectations. You're not going to lose 20 pounds of fat in 4 weeks. You're not going to have a 6-pack in 6 weeks. Like,
but everybody wants to or thinks they can because they're watching all these commercials and these.
They're just getting lied to 24/7 by people who are selling bullshit to them, and like selling supplements that have sawdust in them and are selling like seriously.
No,
like
I agree.
Yeah, it's just an unreal amount of deception. So maybe you're listening and you don't want to hear this right now. You don't want to be like, all right, realistic expectation guy. I don't want to hear about 1.5 pounds of fat per week. I want to give this program a try and that program a try, and I'm going to do it my way. And cool, do it. Like, because I know what's going to happen. Because once you try 1, 2, 3, 4 of those programs that make absurd promises, and you realize that like, oh, they're actually have models who are lying in Photoshop before and afters, right, then you're going to come to the conclusion that, okay, why don't I try and like give this a solid 6 months and see what happens with consistency and doing it the unsexy way. So number 1, have realistic expectations. Number 2, like focus on eating mostly healthy foods, but
yes,
your calories need to be lined up with your goal.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, I think all these, like, there's so many diets in place, and I think you and I both know it's really just a calorie deficit thing. And some people try to say if you're on a certain type of diet, like you can't eat more and still lose weight. Like, I don't agree with that, because it's just a pure math thing, like, I mean, I don't care what you say. Now, is there such a thing as you're doing too much when it comes to working out in order for you to get in shape?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, overtraining is real, and it depends on each individual's lifestyle. Like, if someone is, maybe has a few kids, works a lot of hours at their job, supporting the family, doesn't get a lot of sleep, and on top of all this, like, they're very stressed, very high strung, and they're trying to lift weights for 2 hours a day, every single day, and they're in a calorie deficit, that's probably more training than is optimal for their progress.
Got it.
So
you're not opposed to like pushing yourself, just opposed to if you're not in a good mindset or your stress level's too high for you to be pushing that kind of volume.
There's definitely a subset of the population who tend to be very type A, tend to be an overachiever type, and they can work themselves. I mean, often it's not even overtraining, like from a math volume weightlifting point of view. Rather, it is a woman who is trying to go from like 19 to 16% body fat, and she's drinking caffeine 24/7, and she's like running an hour and a half a day and doing all kinds of cardio, and it's just central nervous system fatigue, as well as like being in a calorie deficit for a long time, tough on her metabolic rate, just high stress levels. And in that case, then pulling back on exercise volume makes sense. But for most people, overtraining isn't an issue. It's more eating more healthy foods, having your calories aligned with your goal, getting enough protein, like a reasonable amount, nothing crazy, and strength training at least a few days a week.
I totally agree, man. Now,
yeah, you're like, I know you're preaching.
So I know you have so many different clients that you work with. I'm sure you've ran into a lot of different situations, but I'm sure it's never the workout, but a motivation level's a huge issue, I'm assuming, with many of your clients. What do you do to help motivate them? Or, is that your own skill in being able to read people that helps you, like every situation is different? Or do you kind of have like, couple go-to things that you always say?
I probably have a couple go-to things that I always say.
Because they're true. Because they're just true. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, every situation is different, and so if I can like hit a nerve with someone that really like takes them to a real place, like there's a few avenues. One is make them realize that how, and this works more for people as they're getting in their 40s, getting in their 50s, getting in their 60s, help them understand that making the change now, because it gets harder every year. Every year we get older, past like 20 or 25, it's harder to make progress.
Yeah.
Doing it now is going to make future you feel better, move better, be in less pain, live longer. And then if you can paint the picture of like how you can interact with your grandkids and how like you can get up and move around and how you can delay the amount of time until you're in a nursing home and those things with fitness, that can be a powerful motivation. I mean, you can go the route of like, you can probably speak to this, but and I've never been, I mean, I was a skinny fat kid, so I didn't look good, but I was never obese. But I just see in society, people treat people who are overweight differently.
Oh man, that's just that's just the truth. Yeah.
And it sucks, and it like sucks for us as humanity, but it's a reality that we have to deal with. And
absolutely,
if you can wrap your head around the fact that this is going to make my interactions better and like possibly lead to more opportunities and different endeavors, that's a motivation. You can go the vanity motivation, which I don't love, but guess what? If you start trying to get a six-pack like I did in 10th grade to get a girl to like you, and the girl doesn't end up liking you, but you fall in love with strength training along the way, like, was it all for naught? No. Like,
no, actually, you came up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. So if vanity is what does it, great. If doing it for your kids is what does it, great. Yeah, it varies from person to person.
So just a quick side thing, you're talking about, so in 10th grade, you were, lifting, get a six-pack, get a girl to like you. Number one, is that a true story?
Yes.
Okay,
Katie
cool.
Gunderson. She didn't like me.
Oh, you remember her name too. I remember her name too, but we're not going to talk about her because I don't know who watched my videos. But, so I think, one thing I struggle with as I was getting in shape is that, when that was your primary goal and she does not like you back, I think a lot of guys and people deal with this. So I want to talk about this is what happens. You go screw training, or is it like you so fell in love with training that you just go, okay, I think I could just do better and just keep trying to improve yourself even more, as opposed to get stuck on the fact that that was my main goal, but my goal didn't even pan out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't even know that if it's a love for training, but what it is realizing that through the process of cultivating discipline, of sticking with the plan, of seeing real changes, of losing fat, of getting stronger, of feeling better about yourself, that translates into other areas of your life. And you feel more confident in school, for me at the time. You feel more confident at hockey, for me at the time. You feel more confident. And like, even if that one girl who you were chasing and trying to get to notice you, like if that doesn't pan out, you're just more confident in dealing with other girls, and like everything gets better as a result of lifting. So even though that one thing didn't work, I noticed all the other benefits, which is what made it become a habit.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about abs real quick. You had a video where you talked about, well, like I have fairly good genetics, and I can go on a fairly lean bulk, loose bulk, and I'm still gonna keep my abs. You're actually like one of the very few trainers that actually ever admitted that, because I know a few that are like that, but they will never admit that because they want to, like, it's all my hard work, which is true. But like, I just know, like you do have, I've been around so many dudes. I'm like, yeah, like you have it a little bit easier than other guys, but I'm not trying to put that as an excuse. Now everybody wants abs. I don't care how old you are. Like I see like, 6-year-old ladies in the gym trying to do abs. Like, I don't care how old you are. A lady wants a butt and abs and a flat stomach. I get it. So what is your practical advice on how to get abs?
Train your abs. Like, the long run advice is, if we can grow our abdominal muscles more, they're going to show through at a slightly higher body fat percentage.
Absolutely.
So training your abs isn't going to like make you lose the fat on your stomach so that you have abs in 6 or 8 weeks. But what it's going to do is having some direct ab training in your program over the course of many years is going to make getting abs in the future easier. Getting abs is a recipe, or like being lean enough is going to give you abs. And that might be 11%, or that might be 6%, or somewhere in between, like depending on the person. But yeah, it's a calorie deficit, and it's time. And it's managing those things, because like, how tall are you?
I am 6'4".
Oh, wow. You got some height, bro.
I do. I was blessed.
What do you remember your top weight?
The last thing I remember, I always say I was 320. I kind of think I was a little bit more than that, but 320.
Okay. So to go from where you were to having 6-pack.
Oh, I've never had one.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's like impossible. So like if you have 15 pounds of fat to lose to get to like single digit, cool, you can probably get a 6-pack there. But to do that in one shot,
yeah,
like to lose 100+ pounds in one shot and like get a 6-pack, it's not gonna happen. It's long game. So cut and like lose as much body fat as you're going to in the immediate future, and then maybe that's 6, 8, 12 months. I don't really know. Maybe it's 2 years, but maybe it's even longer. But having a muscle gain period at some point in the future, 6, 9 months of intentional lean bulk, like build muscle all over, build some ab muscle. But what that's going to do is it's going to raise your metabolic rate. And then when you go to cut again, you're going to be able to get leaner than you got the first time. And it's like that cycle of that traditional bodybuilding bulk and cut cycle. Yep. Is going to eventually get you to the point where you're lean enough for abs to show through. And now, big caveat on top of this, back to the genetics thing. For some people, maybe that means like you're super, super miserable and have been in a calorie deficit for a long time, and like you don't feel good at all, and you're starting to see abs, and you're like, okay, I can see them. I know what it takes to get here, but it's not worth it. I'd rather hang out at 13% body fat instead of starving myself to be at 8%. I just think that realistic expectation is important.
Yeah, no, that's so powerful, man. How important do you think it is? How important do you think it is to enjoy training? Because I've been to so many roller coasters, ups and downs, stop, quit. But this time around, I think the biggest difference was that I enjoy training, and I finally understand after like 10 years, it takes patience. You know what I mean? And when I realized that, it just put me in a really nice mindset where I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping if I didn't lose a pound this week. I'm still going to go live my life. And yeah, what do you think about that?
It's the game. It's like, it's what prevents people from quitting.
Yeah.
Because if you want it now, then when you screw up, when you binge, when you were just going to have 2 drinks, but instead you had 5 and half a pizza, like when you fall off, it's going to be way easier to get back on if you know I'm in this. Like, this is my game. This is what I do. The next day, I forget last night, I restart and I feel better, versus I can't believe how far I just set myself back. Like, like, should I try and keep calories another 500 lower today to offset? Should I fast? Like, it's all mentality. And having a training style you enjoy outside, what it does is it makes you less susceptible to having to see progress immediately, right? If I hate what I'm doing 4 weeks in, if I haven't seen any changes, I'm like, I really don't want to continue doing this. But if I'm falling in love with getting stronger, adding a little bit of weight to the bar, just like getting a pump, whatever the type of work is, if it's faster paced work, if it's like getting a sweat, you feel really good leaving the gym after getting a sweat, having that enjoyment makes you care less about, did the scale move this week or not?
So I think we're on the same page about this. Is something I've been recently super stuck on is not scale or number, like, weight or body fat goals versus performance goals. And I believe if you focus more on performance goals, the results will, as a byproduct, will always come, like 100% of the time.
Yeah. And it's like scale weight or visual goals can be harder to track in the short run. Whereas performance goals, you're like, yeah, I feel better. Yeah, I'm getting stronger. I agree.
Cool. And I know I don't want to take up too much. Are we good on time right now, Mike?
Yeah, we got a few more minutes.
Okay, cool. Very lastly, when it comes to food, Mike, I've never really counted macros in 10 years. You know, I just kind of just took me some time to kind of eyeball things and feel things out. What is your take on food and macros? Can you do it without it? And what is the huge benefit of doing macros?
Yes, you can do it without it, is the answer to that part of the question. For many people who haven't achieved the body they want, who haven't lost the amount of weight they want, who aren't seeing the results they want, they've tried a lot of different things, but haven't like tried paleo, tried going vegan, tried a form of fasting, like tried a lot of things, but haven't paid attention to the proteins, carbs, fats, and calories in the foods that they're eating. Because if someone jumps on a paleo diet and loses 20 pounds of fat, they didn't lose 20 pounds of fat because of the specific paleo-friendly foods they ate. They lost that much weight because they were in a calorie deficit over time. If they haven't been, and no knock on paleo, I just like carbs way too much to do.
Same here, man.
If they haven't seen success on other diet strategies, tracking is just a way to ensure you're in a calorie deficit.
Insurance.
The other I also like it because it helps people who haven't tracked before understand the little like, oh, adding cream and sugar in my coffee actually adds up to this, or oh, like this small handful of nuts that I thought was a snack is actually bigger than my entire dinner calorically. It gives them those little bits of information that feed into their future, that, and when you use some of those hacks, like, oh, okay, I'm going to drink my coffee black instead of this. I'm going to sub in whole milk for this kind of milk. I'm going to do this or this. And when you make those changes, oh, this dressing has 400 calories. I'm just going to squeeze some lemon on. I just bought myself a pound over the course of a week. And those are things that you learn through tracking.
Got it. So it's just really just an instrument for you to put perspective on what you're really putting into your body.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, Mike, you know, I want to close this out for you because I'm sure you have a lot of things to do. Number one, I actually didn't press the broadcast button in the first few minutes, so it might get a little chopped out. So I apologize, but it's good because at least I did it, and I learned next time, make sure you press the broadcast button. But we got a majority of the video. And
live and learn.
Yes, live and learn. And secondly, Mike, you know, after I started this whole Fat Boy Shrink movement and brand, for you to be on my podcast, it really means a lot to me, man. It's really created a lot of momentum for me. So I'm super appreciative. And, you know, just want to say that, you know, you're doing a great job. I've been super influenced by you. And thank you so much, man. Yeah.
You're very welcome. Keep doing your thing, bro.
Thank you, man. You know, we'll stay in contact, and you have yourself a great day, Mike.
All right. You do the same.
All right. Bye.